Learning objectives. In this chapter, the user would learn the following in detail. What is communication? Why communication is key to success in today's business. Goals of communication. Effective communication. Communication competence. Introduction. Communication is the process of exchanging messages or information between two or more parties. Effective communication plays a key role in fulfilling organizational needs and contributes significantly to individual as well as organizational success. This unit explains the importance of communication as well as the basic forms of communication such as verbal and non-verbal. This unit illustrates the communication process and the possible problems that could arise in communication. The unit also discusses the barriers to communication and how they can be overcome. What is communication? Communication is the process of exchanging messages or information between two or more parties. Effective communication plays a key role in fulfilling organizational needs and contributes significantly to individual as well as organizational success. The word communication is derived from Latin word communis, which means common. It is a process of exchange of facts, ideas, opinions, and a means that individuals or organizations share the meaning and understanding with one another. Formal definitions. Communication is a process of sharing experience till it becomes a common possession. It modifies the disposition of both parties who partakes it. John Dewey. Communication is sharing of ideas and feelings in a mood of mutuality. Edgar Dale. Communication is a means of persuasion to influence others so that desired effect is achieved. Aristotle. Types of communication. Nonverbal communication. Nonverbal communication is all those messages expressed through non-linguistic means. Nonverbal messages primarily communicate emotions and attitudes. They can contradict, substitute for, emphasize, or regulate verbal messages. This unit describes the various characteristics and components of nonverbal communications such as paralanguage, kinesic, proxemic, mode of dress, etc. The unit also explains how nonverbal signs can be interpreted. Verbal communication. Verbal communication involves the arrangement of words in a structured and meaningful manner, adhering to the rules of grammar. The message is then conveyed to the audience in either spoken or written form. Types of verbal communication includes written communication, involves traditional pen and paper letters and documents, typed electronic documents, emails, text chats, SMS, and anything else conveyed through written symbols such as language. This type of communication is indispensable for formal business communications and issuing legal instructions. The other form of verbal communication is the spoken word, either face-to-face or through phone, voice chat, video conferencing, or any other medium. Various forms of informal communication, such as the grapevine or informal rumor mill, and formal communications such as lectures, conferences, are forms of oral communication. Verbal communication makes the process of conveying thoughts easier and faster, and it remains the most successful form of communication. Yet, this makes up only 7% of all human communication. Communication process. The communication process: source, message encoding, message channel, message decoding, message receiver, receiver to source, feedback, context. Components of communication. Components of communication process. The main components of communication process are as follows. Sender. The sender initiates the communication. The sender encodes, that is, selects and formulates the information to be conveyed. A sender should visualize the communication from the receiver's point of view and prioritize the order of the content that needs to be communicated. For better receptivity, the communication should always begin with a simple message. Message. The message is the information being transmitted. This includes both verbal and non-verbal data. Verbal information is the part of the message that is heard. Non-verbal information includes body language and the surrounding environment. The way the message is interpreted can alter its intended meaning. Channel. The channel is the means used to convey the message. The channel and the medium of communication have to be selected to physically transmit a message. Various communication channels used are non-verbal, spoken or written. The medium could be telephone, computer, fax, letter, memo, report, face-to-face, etc. When choosing a specific channel or medium, it is important to be aware of the internal communication network within which the message is to be conveyed. Organizational information flows in 4 ways through the internal communication network. Downward, superior to subordinate; upward, subordinate to superior; lateral or horizontal, between employees at the same hierarchical level; and informal, the grapevine. Receiver. The receiver is the individual to whom the message is directed. The extent to which the receiver comprehends the message will depend on a number of factors, including the individual's knowledge of the topic, his or her receptivity to the message, the relationship and trust that exists between the sender and the receiver, and the receiver's understanding and perception of the information being conveyed. Perception refers to an individual's view of reality. It results from many factors such as past experience, attitude towards the message and the sender, intelligence, and communication skills such as speaking and listening. Perception varies among individuals. For example, while the management of a company may consider itself open to its employees and their suggestions, the employees might not agree with this perception. The management's perception of its communication style differs from that of employees, and this difference changes the way the groups communicate with each other. Feedback. Feedback is the receiver's response to a message. It can take a number of verbal and non-verbal forms. In the former, some most common responses are designed to obtain more information or to provide closure by letting the sender know that the message has been received and will be acted upon. Feedback also reveals attitude, perception, and comprehension, or the lack of it. In non-verbal forms, some examples of feedback are nodding one's head, shrugging, grimacing, smiling, winking, rolling one's eyes, looking the other person directly in the eyes, or looking away. Barriers of communication. The process of communication is susceptible to many barriers. These can be categorized into problems caused by the sender, problems in message transmission, problems in reception, and problems in receiver comprehension. Problems caused by the sender. A number of barriers can prevent the sender from correctly handling a communication task. One is the quantum of information the individual has about the message subject. The sender will be unable to make a comprehensive presentation with inadequate information. The sender should therefore thoroughly research the subject before making a presentation. Too much knowledge about the subject can also pose a problem. The sender may give too many details, making it complex and confusing. A third barrier is indecision on information selection. The sender must be aware of the topics to be included or excluded in a presentation. A fourth barrier is the order or sequence of presentation. It is considered worthwhile to start a presentation with simple and general material. A fifth barrier is lack of familiarity with the audience. A sender who does not know the audience very well is likely to be unsure about the approach to adopt. Presentations to be made to a knowledgeable audience should start with the core of the subject, unlike presentations for a not so knowledgeable audience, which should ideally begin with a general discussion for laying the ground. A sixth barrier is lack of experience in speaking or writing. When senders have limited education or training in communication, they often have difficulty expression. Problems in message transmission. Communication can also break down because of transmission problems. One major difficulty is the number of transmission links. When a verbal message is transmitted through 3 or 4 different people before reaching its final destination, the message will most likely be altered or changed in the process. This distortion occurs often in upward and downward communication. Another major problem is the transmission of unclear or conflicting messages. When a message contains 2 conflicting parts, the receiver will have trouble dealing with it. Problems in reception. Sometimes there are communication problems because of hassles in reception. Noise refers to factors that interfere with the exchange of messages. Physical noise refers to external sounds that distract communicators. Other types of external noise do not involve sound. Examples of such distractions are an overcrowded room or a smelly cigar. These can disrupt concentration. Physiological noise refers to hearing disorders that make it difficult to receive messages. The third type of interference is psychological noise, consisting of forces within the receiver that interfere with understanding. Egotism, defensiveness, hostility, preoccupation, fear. All these constitute psychological noise. Problems in receiver comprehension. Sometimes the receiver will have a problem comprehending the message. One common reason is that he or she might not understand the technical words being used. Another reason is the involvement of personal interest that are not common to the sender and the receiver. Communication competence. Communicative competence is a term in linguistics which refers to a language user's grammatical knowledge of syntax, morphology, phonology, and the like, as well as social knowledge about how and when to use utterances appropriately. The term was coined by Del Hymes in 1966, reacting against the perceived inadequacy of Noam Chomsky's 1965 distinction between competence and performance. To address Chomsky's abstract notion of competence, Himes undertook ethnographic exploration of communicative competence that included communicative form and function in integral relation to each other. The approach pioneered by Himes is now known as the ethnography of communication. Competence is having the necessary ability, knowledge, or skill to do something successfully. In communication, you need to communicate in ways that are effective and suitable for a given situation. To be a good communicator, you need to have competent characteristics in most situations. In all, there are 5 characteristics. Self-awareness. To be a good communicator, one must know about their own individuality and behaviors. When you know about yourself and how it affects others, you are able to see how your behavior either fits or doesn't fit in a certain social setting and situation. To have a high level of emotional intelligence allows you to understand people's social behaviors and emotions precisely. Adaptability. Ever feel like a conversation is going wrong because the other person is mentioning something that makes you think, "You, or why are you telling me this?" I have several times. The individual that told you thing didn't adapt to the situation when they saw you look away. That individual didn't know how to adapt to a certain situation or social setting. To deliver a good joke, speech, or story, you have to be aware of your audience and adapt your behavior to your audience. You must know what will be appropriate and effective in a given social setting. Empathy. The ability to understand and share the feelings of another is called empathy. People don't think and feel like you may during a similar situation. There are even people out in this vast world that don't even have empathy. They are egocentric, self-centered, selfish individuals that don't look at others' perspectives before they communicate. It's important to know how others are feeling and thinking to correctly adapt to a certain situation. Cognitive complexity. Here's the definition from my pal, Corey Floyd. The ability to understand a given situation in multiple ways. To understand situations in different perspectives helps you to choose what is going on in that situation. Behaviors and body language don't always mean what we like to think they mean. If someone, say a friend, doesn't notice you right away at school, or say someone that always talks to you didn't this time around, it doesn't mean that they are mad at you or they want to ignore you. They may have something else on their mind and in deep thought. Always consider different explanations for that person's behavior. Ethics. The last competent characteristic is ethics. Ethics is moral principles or a set of ideas about what is right and what is wrong. To become aware of your own ethical beliefs and to be aware of others' ethical beliefs will allow you to see a person's perspective besides your own. Write it down. In this high-tech, fast-paced world, it's easy to overlook the value of writing down thoughts, intentions, and even visions. Doing so, however, is a basic business strategy that enables clarity and purposes. What's more, the process of writing a business plan can be more important than the actual document. One great way to see just how effective writing it down can be is to always have 3 updated, clear drafted documents: a vision statement, a value statement, and a business plan. In fact, the document drafting process naturally produces common understanding, consensus, alignment, and buy-in. It also promotes clear communication within your management team while empowering your people and grooming them for future leadership. Why is this so crucial to a business success? Mission statements define who you are and where you're going. Value statements are your compass, the needle keeping you firmly on course. And your business plan is the rudder steering your ship. For example, think about Thomas Jefferson and the other framers of the Declaration of Independence and the US Constitution. They drafted documents that not only defined America and its mission, but also laid the foundation of ideals, principles, values, and laws on which the nation operates to this day. And guess what? They didn't just sit down one day and dictate it to a secretary. They worked the language and polished every word over and over, and they used the process itself to promote alignment, consensus, and collective buy-in. With words, language, and clear communication, they launched a revolution. What's more, on the shared values of liberty, individual empowerment, and collective prosperity, these visionaries built a nation of unparalleled wealth and economic gain. Communication is the key. The bottom line: clear communication is the most important key to a business leader's success. So to grow as a leader and manager, you must learn how to be an effective, compelling communicator. And if you want your company to succeed, you and your team have to master the art of clear communication together as well. By using these and other strategies, you and your employees can reach new levels of leadership excellence. Effective communication. Communication is about more than just exchanging information. It's about understanding the emotion and intentions behind the information. Effective communication is also a two-way street. It's not only how you convey a message so that it is received and understood by someone in exactly the way you intended. It's also how you listen to gain the full meaning of what's being said and to make the other person feel heard and understood. More than just the words you use, effective communication combines a set of skills including non-verbal communication, engaged listening, managing stress in the moment, the ability to communicate assertively, and the capacity to recognize and understand your own emotions and those of the person you're communicating with. Effective communication is the glue that helps you deepen your connections to others and improve teamwork, decision-making, and problem-solving. It enables you to communicate even negative or difficult messages without creating conflict or destroying trust. Effective communication. Communication is about more than just exchanging information. It's about understanding the emotion and intentions behind the information. Effective communication is also a two-way street. It's not only how you convey a message so that it is received and understood by someone in exactly the way you intended. It's also how you listen to gain the full meaning of what's being said and to make the other person feel heard and understood. More than just the words you use, effective communication combines a set of skills including non-verbal communication, engaged listening, managing stress in the moment, the ability to communicate assertively, and the capacity to recognize and understand your own emotions and those of the person you're communicating with. Effective communication is the glue that helps you deepen your connections to others and improve teamwork, decision-making, and problem-solving. It enables you to communicate even negative or difficult messages without creating conflict or destroying trust. Barriers to effective interpersonal communication. Stress and out of control emotion. When you are stressed or emotionally overwhelmed, you more likely to misread other people, send confusing or off-putting non-verbal signals, and lapse into unhealthy knee-jerk patterns of behavior. Take a moment to calm down before continuing a conversation. Lack of focus. You can't communicate effectively when you're multitasking. If you're planning what you're going to say next, daydreaming, checking text messages, or thinking about something else, you're almost certain to miss non-verbal cues in the conversation. You need to stay focused on the moment-to-moment experience. Inconsistent body language. Non-verbal communication should reinforce what is being said, not contradict it. If you say one thing, but your body language says something else, your listener will likely feel you're being dishonest. For example, you can't say yes while shaking your head no. Negative body language. If you disagree with or dislike what's being said, you may use negative body language to rebuff the other person's message, such as crossing your arms, avoiding eye contact, or tapping your feet. You don't have to agree or even like what's being said, but to communicate effectively without making the other person defensive, it's important to avoid sending negative signals. Tips for effective communication. 6 tips for effective communication. 1. Be conscious that your emotions will show through. 2. Vary your voice, tone and pitch. 3. If you want people to accept your ideas, share them with enthusiasm. 4. Be aware of your gestures and the impact that they have. 5. Remember the old saying, look them in the eye. 6. Study the gestures of others and listen to their tone. Effective communication skills. Give them the impression that you're enthusiastic about talking to them. They want to feel that you would rather be talking to them than anyone else. When you give them the impression that you are excited about talking to them and that you care about them, you make them feel better about themselves. As a result, they'll be more likely to really open up to you. Ask open-ended questions about their interests. Ask questions that will get them to talk about their interests and their life in a way that provides you with insight into their needs and wants. Adapt to their body language and feelings. Pay special attention to their non-verbal communication. Watch their body language and posture. Also take note of their inflection and word choices. Now, tailor your words, body language and voice tone to match what you have observed. Doing this will help them feel a deep subconscious connection with you. Show them approval. Tell them what you admire about them and why. One of the best ways to instantly connect with people is to be forthright and tell them exactly why you like or admire them. If being too direct isn't appropriate, insinuate with a few indirect statements here and there. Either approach can be equally as effective because everyone responds well to approval. Listen attentively to everything they say. Don't focus too much on what you're going to say next as they are talking. Instead, listen to every word they say and respond back as fluently and smoothly as possible. Give them the right amount of eye contact. Eye contact communicates to the other person that you are not only interested in them and what they have to say, but that you are also trustworthy. When done in moderation, they will also assume you are confident in yourself because of your willingness to face them directly. Reveal as much about yourself as possible. One of the best ways to earn someone's trust is to reveal yourself as openly as you can. As you do this, make sure not to mention things that stray too far from where their interests and values lie. Nothing builds trust like genuine transparency. Give the impression that you are on the same team. Use words like we, us, we're, our, and ourselves to instantly build a bond. When you use those words, you make it seem like you are all on the same team with a common goal or concern. This moves you into their circle while everyone else seems lack your special insight and understanding. Give them your best smile. When you smile at people, you communicate that you like them and their presence brings you happiness. Smiling at them will cause them to subconsciously want to smile back at you, which will instantly build rapport between the two of you. Offer helpful suggestions. Recommend restaurants you have been to, places you have been to, movies you have seen, helpful people they'd like to meet, books you would read, career opportunities, and whatever else you can think of. Describe what was so great about those people, places, and things, and how they might appeal to other person. Give them encouragement. If the person you are dealing with is younger or in a more difficult position than you, they will appreciate any encouragement you can offer. When you help them feel more confident in their own abilities, they will value your input. This helps even out the relationship. Appear to have a slightly higher energy level than the other person. Generally, people want to be around those who lift them up instead of bringing them down. If you indicate with your voice and your body language that you have a slightly higher energy level, they will feel more energized and positive while around you. Don't be so energetic that you put people off, but have enough so that they feel energized after talking with you. Say their name in a way that is pleasing to their ears. A person's name is one of the most emotionally powerful words for them. But how you say it is more important than how often you say it. If you say their name with the right inflection, it can actually convey a lot of positive feeling directly to their nervous system. If their name feels good to them when you say it, they will feel bonded to you on a subconscious level without even knowing why. Offer to take the relationship a step further. There are a number of things you could do to advance your friendship with someone. Offer to eat with them, talk over a cup of tea, see a sports game, have a beer or two with them, etc. Even if people don't take you up on your offers, they will be flattered that you like them enough to want to take the friendship to a deeper level. Goals of communication. The four main goals of communication are to be understood, to be accepted, to get something done, to understand others. To be understood. The primary purpose in communication is to communicate something across to someone else so that he or she knows exactly what you mean. This could be facts, intentions, or even feelings. However, even this simple act may have its problems. For example, in our example between the husband and the wife may think of a holiday as a stay in a luxurious holiday resort, while the husband may think of a holiday as a golfing or camping trip. Words and ideas which seem so clear by themselves can be understood in many different ways by different people. To be accepted. It means to get people to agree with you or at least to listen to you seriously. This might surprise some of you, but actually getting your message accepted does not happen as often as you might think. Many things block acceptance. These things may include distrust, lack of empathy, or even an upset state of mind. Your tone may have made John feel that he was being used by you. Perhaps something that you asked him to do in the past had left him feeling resentful, or he may have personal problems which weigh heavily on his mind. In any case, he didn't hear so much with his brain as with his feelings. And since he didn't hear you correctly, he didn't accept you. Getting action involves more than simply asking or telling. When we use a machine, all we have to do is to push a button. With people, you will generally need to explain, to convince, and to follow up to get something done. Let us consider a common example. You have something that must be done quickly, and you need to ask someone who you can trust to do it for you. You think John is the one? You are under a lot of pressure and cannot possibly do it, so you ask John for his help. You are surprised when he shows that he does not want to help you out. What happened? A situation like this might have taken place. What you said: Peter, I am using my machine to finish this job that I am a little late with. My superior gave me this other job to finish today. I will never finish it. I already have to work late just to finish the first job. Can you help me out by doing it on your machine for me? What Peter might have heard: Peter, here is a dirty job that my boss gave me. I don't want to be bothered by it. Your machine can do it. Your plans for the day don't count to me. Just help me out by doing my work for me. Your tone may have made Peter feel that he was being used by you. Perhaps something that you asked him to do in the past had left him feeling resentful, or he may have personal problems which weigh heavily on his mind. In any case, he didn't hear so much with his brain as with his feelings. And since he didn't hear you correctly, he didn't accept you. Getting action involves more than simply asking or telling. When we use a machine, all we have to do is to push a button. With people, you will generally need to explain, to convince, and to follow up. To understand others. Understanding others is an important aspect in successful communication. You can achieve this by being constantly friendly and approachable, offer encouragement, and by studying the other person. If I could sum up all of the above in one sentence, it would be: good communication skills require dedication and effort on your part. Ralph Waldo Emerson once said, "Good manners are made up of petty sacrifices." Well, good communication skills are also made up of petty sacrifices. Take the time and effort to be other-oriented and communicate better today. Why communication is key to success in today's business. Good communication skills are key to success in life, work, and relationships. Without effective communication, a message can turn into error, misunderstanding, frustration, or even disaster by being misinterpreted or poorly delivered. Communication is the process by which we exchange information between individuals or groups of people. It is a process where we try as clearly and accurately as we can to convey our thoughts, intentions, and objectives. Communication is successful only when both the sender and the receiver understand the same information. In today's highly informational and technological environment, it has become increasingly important to have good communication skills. While many individuals still continue to struggle, the inability to communicate effectively will hold them back not only in their careers but in social and personal relationships. The steps for acquiring good communication skills. Know what you want to say and why. Understand clearly the purpose and intent of your message. Know to whom you are communicating and why. Consider any barriers you may encounter, such as cultural differences or situational circumstances, gender, age, or economic biases. Ask yourself what outcome you want to achieve and the impression you want to leave. How will you say it? We are all aware by now that it's not always what you say, but how you say it that counts. Begin by making eye contact. You inspire trust and confidence when you look a person in the eyes when you speak. Second, be aware of your body language, since it can say as much or more than your words. By standing with arms easily at your side, you tell others that you are approachable and open to hearing what they have to say. If instead your arms are crossed and shoulders hunched, it suggests disinterest or unwillingness to communicate. Good posture and an approachable stance help make even difficult communication flow more smoothly. Listen. Communication is a two-way street. After you have said what you have to say, stop, listen, and look for feedback and clues of comprehension. While the person is responding, avoid any impulses to cut them off or listen only for the end of the sentence so that you can blurt out more ideas or thoughts that come to your mind. Respectfully give them your full attention when they are finished. To ensure that your message has been clearly and correctly understood, ask open questions and encourage discussions. Fine-tune your message if necessary. Reach understanding, agreement, or consensus. Once you have had the opportunity to discuss your message and the feedback to it, revisit the purpose of the interchange. Have you reached common ground, solved a problem, or clarified your position? If the purpose was to teach or instruct, have you accomplished your goal? To communicate well is to understand and to be understood. Make sure that your message has been received as intended and that any questions or concerns have been alleviated. You can even agree to disagree. There are no guarantees that your communication efforts will be met with total compliance and agreement. As long as you understand each other, are cordial and respectful, you can still have a successful exchange. Good leaders, good communicators. There's no mystery here. Regardless of whether you're talking about business, politics, sports, or the military, the best leaders are first-rate communicators. Their values are clear and solid, and what they say promotes those values. Their teams admire them and follow their lead. Likewise, if you want your company to reach new benchmarks of achievement, you must master the art of clear communication. So how do you do it? First, you must realize and accept that clear communication is always a two-way process. It's not enough to speak clearly. You have to make sure you're being heard and understood. To facilitate this, use the following two-way communication primer. Prepare how you'll communicate. Clarify the goal of the communication. Plan carefully before sending it or meeting in person. Anticipate the receiver's viewpoint and feelings. Deliver the message. Express your meaning with conviction. Relate the message to your larger goals. Identify the action to be taken. Confirm the other person understands. Receive the message. Keep an open mind. Identify key points in the message. Value constructive feedback and use it to grow. Confirm your understanding. Conclusion. In this chapter, we have covered the following in detail. What is communication? Why communication is key to success in today's business? Goals of communication. Effective communication. Communication competence.